Welcome to all of you. For those who do not know me, I am Russell Gelormini. And on behalf of my father and myself, I'd like to thank all of you for coming here today to pay respects to my mother, Angelina Gelormini. My mother herself would also be very pleased and honored to see all of you here today to share in this memorial with us. My eulogy is a bit long, so please bear with me. I do have a lot to say from afar. Having this opportunity to speak for a few minutes about my mother, whose life we are celebrating today, I would like to say first and foremost that I'm fortunate to be her son, and it is an honor for me to call her my mother. I think we all remember my mother as being a kind and giving person who always dwelled on the positive. She exemplified many characteristics such as generosity, sensitivity, integrity, dignity, and most of all, the word life itself. Few people I have ever seen have lived life as fully or as well as my mother certainly did. I feel like it would take a lifetime to convey all the memories I shared with her, but I'd like to share a few of my favorites with you, illustrate to you how wonderful of a life she gave all of us. Of course, there are the memories every family member has, the home life she gave us, the amazing and magnificent meals, the macaroni, the soup, the gravy, the meat, the antipasto, the stuffed artichokes, the cookies, the pastries, the cakes, the 7-fish Christmas Eve dinner, and so on. Her hosting of memorable holidays, leading our den of Cub Scouts, coming to all of our baseball games and swim meets, taking us down the shore, collecting coins with me, catching lightning bugs with my brother and I, all the help she gave us on school projects, walking with us at 6:30 in the morning to St. Agnes Church so we could serve 7 o'clock Mass before school, watching Lost in Space episodes with me, and also working with her 2 summers while I was in high school at her company, American Chain and Cable. She a highly ranking secretary in the main office, me a lowly warehouse worker. She was an excellent tailor of our clothes. She typed countless school papers in both high school and college. I remember her nonstop cleaning of the house, how she remembered and acknowledged all family birthdays and significant events, the many, many trips to visit Alyssa and JT in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Texas, Germany, Florida, Mississippi, and again back to Texas to visit Scarlett and Juliet. The many trips we all took to France, Germany, Italy. And the best memory I have of my mom, when she finally agreed in the year 1972 to allow me to have a dog, and the dog was our Dalmatian named Smokey, that we had for nearly 15 years, and she cherished that dog. Mostly I remember how she treasured and treated our families, our children, our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, despite the little tornadoes that they are. These things, how she lived her life impacted not only her, but many, 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 many people. Today I will be mostly focusing on the impact that my mother had on others. And I'm going to tell you about the most important things in her life. As far as I can see it, there were 5 most important things to my mother. And these were faith, family, character, name, and life, not necessarily in that order. As far as my mother's faith, it was the cornerstone of her life. It was never questioned or unwavering. My mother was devout. Religion was always an integral part of her life. By placing us in a Catholic school and supporting us becoming altar boys and lectern commentators, we also came to know what it was that she so strongly believed in. When any of us were experiencing a difficult moment in life, she'd always relate to something biblical if she could. Her favorite biblical passage was Psalm 23, which we will revisit again later in this eulogy. It was through this psalm that she taught us courage, strength, and believing in ourselves. She valued greatly praying her rosary, going to church on Sunday, receiving communion. However, I never actually did see her drink the communion wine. She enjoyed all the sacraments, daily morning and evening prayers, and celebrating all of the Catholic holidays. She lived her religion, certainly, and she enjoyed learning and celebrating the religions of others. Her faith was, without a doubt, a sustainer of her life. In the Bible, there is a passage which I believe applies to my mother, and it is Proverbs 31, 28-29. The proverb reads, "Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all." How true this is. Number two, important factor in my mother's life was her family. Our family began when my parents met at a movie theater in Newark, New Jersey, in 1953 or so. The movie they went to see was called Mississippi Gambler, a theater in Newark one Sunday afternoon. The very next Saturday, they ran into each other at the Terrace Ballroom where Tony Bennett was performing. They had their first dance to the song Because of You, and then they danced each and every song for the rest of the night together. During one of the dances, my mother's necklace broke, a pearl necklace. Her and my father picked up the necklace, the pearls. My father put them in his pocket for safekeeping, and they finished the evening up dancing. When my father got home, he realized he still had her necklace in his pocket. He spent the better part of the next week calling every Ferrara in the phone book in Newark until he finally reached Angelina Ferrara, and they agreed on a time and date that he could return the necklace. He returned it on a Thursday, I believe, at the place of her work. During lunchtime, he drove there in his brand new yellow and black Mustang, I believe a Ford. No. I'm sorry. It was a black and yellow brand new Mercury. And he visited my mother at lunch. And from there, it's history. Our family began pretty much that week. They married in I believe, May of 1955, and this marriage lasted 67 years. To my mother, family was truly everything. She pursued a lifelong effort to build and maintain family connections, and all family was treated with sensitivity and consideration, as well as extraordinary generosity. She had an unparalleled level of family involvement and dedication. She valued greatly her two sisters, all of her nieces and nephews, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, her sons, and her husband. Frankie, Dana, Liz, and JT were her grandchildren, and they meant the world to her. They reciprocated that feeling as well. They all had an unusually close bond with their grandmother. Also, Scarlett, Francesco, Juliet, Aspen, and Adriana were her great-grandchildren, and again, the mutual bond of love and affection, as well as wisecracking humor, was unusually strong. It was our family that gave us all strength, and we have remained strong and unified and supportive this past year or so, which has been very trying. Within the past year or so, it was extreme sadness that our entire family had to say goodbye to, among others, our beloved cousin Anthony, my brother Frank, and now my mother, each of whose lives reflected an embodiment of all these values of family worthy of our admiration and respect. It was an important lesson my mother wanted to teach us, that family is indeed everything. Nothing should stand in the way of the bond that we have for each other. She once told me her father told her to always, and I mean always, take care of her family. And no matter what, always keep them well fed. Another quote in the Bible I think is applicable is Timothy 1, chapter 5, verse 8. which reads, "Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." True. Third most important factor in my mother's life, your character. Very important. Like her parents before her, my mother had a character of the highest caliber. As a parent, my mother had the ability to make each of us feel stronger and more confident in our identity, giving us our own sense of independence, mental toughness, which, speaking for myself, has been such an asset in so many ways. She strived and tried to teach us to be kind, considerate and courteous, and non-judgmental of all people. I am still working to achieve what she desired, slowly but I hope surely. Years ago, when I was a child, I heard a sitcom actor utter some words during that half-hour sitcom show, and it could have been my mother uttering this quote. I was an impressionable 8-year-old child, and this actor on that TV show and what he said had an impact on me for life and echoed my mother's feelings of what she was trying to teach us. This actor said, and I quote, "The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, fat or thin or ugly or handsome. You can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character." This actor echoed my mother's philosophy exactly on character. Her character was also evident in her generosity and all the time and energy she spent on so many other people, the advice she gave, and in many ways that she provided invaluable support to a remarkable number of people. Her uncompromising integrity and her honesty were one of the most important guides for me in my life, professional and personal. Whenever I was facing a situation which I was unsure about, which direction to take, I felt that I had a tool to guide me in the form of a simple question. Would I be willing to tell my mother what I had done? Would I be willing to tell her what I did on the path that I chose? Well, I didn't always tell her what I did, of course, and certainly I was no angel. But without her, it could have been a lot worse. Life does force us all into positions of compromise and presents challenges to our honesty, our integrity, and I observed my mother time and time again meet those challenges, one after one, throughout her life with courage, fortitude, toughness, a sense of right and wrong, which was inspiring to everyone. It was her values, her commitment to community and people. She hoped the world would become a better place by raising men, all three of us, my brother, my father, and me, who would know how to treat others, hopefully. I still have a long way to go, I know that. And she knew that also, but she also knew I was trying. She was proud when I did well in school, and when my brother did well in school, and when all three of us did well in our professional lives. But mostly, she was proud of the way her men raised their own families. And she was most happy when she saw our families happy. Another Bible quote I'd like to share with you is Proverbs 31-10, which tells us, "A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies." True. Fourth factor of my mother's life, name. The Ferrara and the Gelormini names, along with the Restaino and Lemongello names, those valued surnames of my mother and father and their families. The name Ferrara actually means forged in iron, a name of strength. All these names have an origin in Italy, in and around the Avellino province. This was also the birthplace of Saint Gerard, a saint that is very revered by my mother and our entire family. My mother was not only happy to to explore and visit the area of Italy that was where our family was from, but she was also ecstatic when she visited the monastery and the birthplace of Saint Gerard. I still remember that day. She was ecstatic, very happy to have visited the birthplace and the sanctuary and the monastery of Saint Gerard Majella. My mother did feel that a good name is like gold. Do not tarnish it. But then again, names. Russell Gerald. Russell Gerald as my name? I don't know. But then again, her second choice was Howard for me. So my name, Russell Gerald, I'm okay with. She felt that our names gave us a sense of identity, represented our heritage, promoted dignity and respect. She always said, if you are always honest, you will not tarnish your good name and you will never ruin your reputation. You will have nothing to worry about. Don't do anything to embarrass or compromise yourself. You can destroy your own reputation. Do not do it. In the book of Proverbs, we are told, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. My mother never ever brought discredit on her name. They had me for that. At any rate, number 5, her life. My mother's thoughts in life were always focused on us, my brother, my father, and me. Perhaps the key to her happiness was her ultimate approach to life. One of her lessons to me was not to worry about things so much and relax. Another was not to let hurtful comments towards me bother me. Her favorite saying regarding teasing and name calling when I was a child was, and I still remember it to this day, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names can never hurt me. I still remember that. She would reiterate that if we ever felt dejected and defeated, and to remember that she was proud of us and everything that we were, everything that we were becoming, and everything we were going to become. She wanted our lives to focus on growing, becoming a better person. She was not excessively proud of our diplomas or our professions or the money we earned, but she was most proud when she saw us trying to be a good human being and trying our best at everything. No one is perfect, and she knew that. However, she made us feel like we were. She knew that we weren't. No matter what we were doing or what we did, her humble pride was always there. She was proud that we were doing all that we could. She frequently said, I'm proud of you. I always will be proud of you. She was very proud of the three of us. She did everything for the three of us. She encouraged not only what we did, but how we did it. She hoped we did it with courage, kindness, and hard work, and that it wasn't illegal. Somewhat. She was never selfish. We often were. We were equally as proud of her as she was proud of us for the way she allowed us to experience happiness and fulfillment in our lives, and the way that we saw her experience happiness and fulfillment in her life through her husband, her children, their children, their spouses, their friends, and anyone who put forth their best effort. We were proud of how she fostered a positive notion of self-worth based on personal effort, expenditure of energy. We were proud of the way she treated everyone, her honesty, her integrity, her compassion, her selflessness, and her giving nature. And nothing for us was more motivating than her relentless can-do attitude. Another favorite proverb of mine is 27-19. which reads, "As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart." My mother lived by that example, and by a great example. I told you this was going to be a little long. So in closing, you're going to applaud now. In closing, I have to say Angelina Ferrara Gelormini lived her life with a passion for love and acceptance of all people. She would often say, "Let your hair down and have fun." And she did this sometimes, as evidenced at multiple family gatherings and weddings where she would hoof out to the dance floor with her two sisters and dance to the song, "We Are Family. I got all my sisters with me." What a memory. My mother leaves behind a legacy of caring. I'm grateful to have learned so much from her. Every day of her life, she did something for other people. She always gave, and that included the relatively few times she gave us the wooden spoon. Turn around, hands on the wall. I never knew this bothered her until last week. One of the last things she said to me, perhaps the last, when I last saw her in the hospital on Friday, 9 days ago, she said to me, "Russell, I hope you know I still loved you, even though I was punishing you and hurt you." I got to tell you, it gave her great relief when I told her that whatever she did, physical or emotional punishment, never bothered me and it never hurt. We pretended it did, but it didn't. It gave her great relief that it didn't bother us at all. I never knew it bothered her. It did. I'm glad I had the chance to set that straight. Without my mother, the world is undoubtedly a darker place. I know she would say to us right now, I know what she would say to us right now. It's now up to us to show the kindness that she showed. There is absolutely no other way to end this tribute today in her honor than for all of us to recite her favorite and most revered biblical passage. That is Psalm 23. I'm going to recite it now in the New Revised King James Version, but say it along with me in any version that you know it. Here we go. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In verdant pastures he gives me repose. Besides restful waters he leads me. He refreshes my soul. He guides me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk in the dark valley, I fear no evil. For you are at my side with your rod and your staff that give me courage. You spread the table before me in sight of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Only goodness and kindness follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for years to come." Today, my mother is where she always dreamed of being. She actually believed in an actual golden gate on the clouds, being welcomed by St. Peter and being granted access to paradise. That's what she believed. That's what she got. Today, she's reunited with her parents, a whole host of family and friends, her dog Smokey, and most important to her son, Frank, who I am sure greeted her with a great big, "Hey, Angelina," followed by one of his many wisecracks. So please now, no more tears. Just remember her, tell stories about her, smile at the good memories. Do not be sad, but just be happy for her. And as a personal note to my mother, today is my chance to say thank you for the way you brightened my life. Only now that you're gone do I truly, truly appreciate what I am now without. I want you to know that my life without you will be very, very difficult. I want to thank you for everything. You will live in my heart forever. I am and I always will be extremely proud to call myself the son of Angelina for our Gelormini. And I am grateful to each of you today for recognizing my mother as the wonderful woman she is. Thank you all for being here today. Bye, guys.